This is a 2001 Nissan Pathfinder, and in this video I want to show you the places that you'll find vacuum leaks and the most common ones that you'll find, and all of these vacuum leaks are hidden underneath the intake manifold that I've taken off here just to be able to access these lines. There's 4 of these lines that are hiding underneath the intake manifold. The first and most common one that I want to talk about is the breather tube that goes between both of the valve covers. This one will split on both sides. Right now this tube is rock hard. This one will go between this connector here and this connector here between both of the valve covers. This was actually the only one that Nissan had in stock at the dealer. They told me that this was the most common thing and they didn't carry any of the other ones that I want to talk about. This is the part number here. When I did my vacuum test, it appeared that this was the only one that was letting smoke come out, and you can't really tell exactly where it's coming from because all the intake manifold stuff is covering it. So I just had a bunch of smoke coming out from underneath, and then I found out about these vacuum tubes. The next hose is the Pcv valve hose. This is the Pcv valve connected to it still. This sits back here on the back left. There's a grommet here, and this will shove right in there when you replace your Pcv valve when you're doing this work. This tube wasn't leaking for me, but it is rock hard, and when I was taking it off, it just crumbled, so I had to replace it. On your upper intake manifold, this will sit on here like this, and that Pcv valve tube will connect directly to this one that's sitting in the back there. The next one is this tube here. It's just a 90-degree elbow, and there were a couple cracks, but I wasn't seeing any vacuum leaks from it. But that one, so again, this is sitting here. All that does is just connect those two steel tubes right there. So I've just placed my intake back in just as a demonstration. Next one's going to be this big one. This one goes from this spot here and connects into the back of the intake over here. This one didn't have any cracks. It might have been replaced in the past, but one side is pretty stiff and the other side is still a little soft, so it should be time to replace this one as well while we're here. The next vacuum leak that I had was coming from a crack in the intake manifold. I just put some duct tape over it just to seal it up so I could test for more leaks, but there's a crack right here next to the hose clamp. I've heard of some being underneath on the bottom, but this can definitely be a place from manipulating and it just getting hard and it'll crack on you, and that can be another spot that you'll get a vacuum leak. So of course you'll see all this webbing of vacuum hoses. I didn't particularly have any leaks that I could detect out of these. These were probably replaced in the past by somebody else. But for me, I'm going to replace these just because I have the tube and I'm here doing this. But for me, this isn't where one of my leaks were that I found, even in all of these small ones. But I'm going to replace all of these as well. So to replace these tubes, the only one that I bought one from the dealer, the preform, is this one here that connects the breather between the two valve covers. For these two short ones, I believe this is 3/8 fuel hose. Actually, it is, says it right there. So the dealer didn't have either of these two, but this should be pretty sufficient for that. And then for the valve cover to the intake tube, this is just, I believe, 5/8 fuel hose. And that should take care of most of the